Hi, I'm Korina, head of the student team here at CareerFoundry. Today I'm going to tell you all about UX research methods. UX research is the process of gathering insights about your users in order to make smart design decisions. It ensures a user-centric approach and is key to defining the right problem statement and coming up with effective solutions. With the right research methods, you'll learn about your users' needs, goals, and pain points. You'll validate and invalidate your own assumptions and continuously test the usability of your design. In this video, I'll explain the different types of UX research. I'll then introduce some of the most popular research techniques used by UX designers. To finish off, I'll share some tips on how to choose the right research method. By the end of this video, you'll be ready to identify the most effective user research methods for your next design project. First up, let's take a look at the different types of UX research. When choosing your research methods, it's important to consider the kinds of outcome that each can deliver. The data gathered throughout the research process may be quantitative or qualitative, and attitudinal or behavioral. So, what's the difference between quantitative and qualitative research? In simple terms, quantitative data is basically anything measurable. How many users visited a certain page on your website? What percentage of visitors made a purchase? Quant methods, as they're sometimes called in the industry, help you to put a number on the usability of your product. They also allow you to compare different designs and determine if one version performs significantly better than the other. Qualitative research, on the other hand, focuses on the reasons or motivations behind these actions. Why did the user click? Why didn't they purchase? You can think of quantitative data as fixed, while qualitative data is more descriptive and open-ended. A further distinction to make is between how qualitative and quantitative studies go about collecting data. Studies that are qualitative in nature are based on direct observation. For example, you'll gather data about the user's behaviors or attitudes by observing them directly in action. Quantitative studies gather this data indirectly through an online survey, for example. We'll take a look at some common qualitative and quantitative research methods later on. For now, let's consider that second dimension, attitudinal versus behavioral. When conducting user research, you'll also make a distinction between attitudinal and behavioral research. In other words, distinguishing between what people say and what they do. Often the two are quite different. Attitudinal research gets the user to report certain information about themselves. This helps you understand people's stated beliefs, expectations, and perceptions. For example, you might conduct an interview with a user to find out their opinions on certain concepts or to discover their motivations for using a certain app. Attitudinal research is especially useful for gleaning insights that wouldn't be apparent when observing the user. Perhaps your user would like a specific feature to be added. They can tell you this, but you'd be none the wiser if you simply watch them interacting with the product in its current state. Then there's behavioral research, the holy grail of UX. Behavioral research refers to any direct observation method and seeks to understand what people do in a given situation. Direct observation is extremely valuable as it gives you an authentic sense of how people interact with your product in the real world. Methods such as A/B testing and eye tracking can show you exactly which actions the user takes when presented with a certain layout, for example. So, to recap, attitudinal is based on what people say, while behavioral is based on what people do. It's important to think of these research types, quantitative, qualitative, attitudinal, behavioral, as dimensions rather than hard and fast categories. Many UX research methods will not fall strictly into one category. Rather, they'll produce a mixture of both self-reported and behavioral data, for example. A great resource for visualizing this framework is the Niels Corman Group's landscape of user research methods, which you can see on the screen right now. Now we know about the different types of UX research, let's introduce some specific methods. Some of the most popular research techniques used by UX designers include A/B testing, a quantitative behavioral research method used to compare two different design options. Surveys and questionnaires, an extremely flexible technique for collecting both quantitative and qualitative data. Surveys and questionnaires are attitudinal in nature as they are based on what the user says. Card sorting, a quantitative research method used for determining information architecture labels and structures. Eye tracking, another quantitative method used to collect behavioral data. Using special equipment, you'll track the user's eyes as they move around an interface. Diary studies, where users record and describe certain aspects of their daily lives that are relevant to the product you're designing. User interviews, a qualitative attitudinal technique where you'll engage with the user one-on-one, either face-to-face or via video. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are loads of UX research methods to choose from, so be sure to explore them all before deciding which one to use. In fact, with so many methods to choose from, you're probably wondering where to start. Don't worry, I've got some pointers to help you. When just starting out, you'll need to focus on understanding your users and the underlying problem. What are you trying to solve? Who are you trying to solve it for? At this early stage in the design process, your goal is to explore new directions and opportunities. Typically, designers will use a mixture of both qualitative and quantitative methods such as field studies, diary studies, surveys, and data mining. Once you've established the direction for your design, you'll move into the building or execution phase. In terms of UX research, the focus will now be on evaluating your designs and making sure that they are addressing your users' needs. At this stage, your choice of research methods will seek to optimize your designs and improve usability. Here, you'll mostly use qualitative methods such as card sorting, usability studies, and desirability studies. Once your design is finalized and you have a working product, you'll want to gauge how well it performs, either compare it to a previous version of the product or compare it to a competitor. To do this, you'll focus mainly on quantitative UX research methods such as usability benchmarking, surveys, and A/B testing. Throughout the product development process, new questions or areas of investigation will arise. Whenever you decide to conduct UX research, it's important to determine specific objectives and then choose the research methods that best serve these. Whichever methods you choose, it's important to be mindful about conducting both qualitative and quantitative research together. You can't skip one in favor of the other. A good mixture of both qualitative and quantitative research will help you to paint a full picture and ultimately avoid misleading conclusions. A qualitative interview, for example, will give you great insights into your user, but unless you verify these findings later on with quantitative methods, you can't be sure if your observations relate to just a single person or a larger group of people. The same goes for quantitative data. It's great to have all the data, but unless you understand the meaning behind it, you cannot use it to its full potential. So now you know all about different types of UX research. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to check out the rest of our UX research series. Thank you for watching and see you next time.